issues, we are reaching the fag end of our discussion. Of course, we will continue our discussion subsequently when we start our in our current affairs, we will be still talking about lot of international bilateral issues. So, no doubt regarding this. But today I would like to talk about India and China, because that is one area which I have not discussed. So, various issues are there, India and China. So, in the first discussion, I would like to talk about the irritants between major irritants between India and China. Major irritants. There are a lot of irritants between India and China, you know it very well. We are not at all comfortable and happy with India and China or the relationship. Okay. So, if you look at the India China relations, one very interesting thing you can notice is we are both are old civilizations, we are both are civilizations, great history to talk about. And if you look at our relationship, this is something in the last say 2000 years, if you look, out of the last 2000 years, in almost 1950 years or maybe 1930 years, we can say the last 70 years we may have some problem, but otherwise the previous 1950 or 1930 years, if you are taking 2000 years of history, say the previous 1930 years, we were very cordial, we had a very cordial relationship, very comfortable relationship. The last in the latest 70 years, our relationship is not so good, not so good. That is a funny thing. Okay. The first 1930 years we can say it was excellent, but the latest 70 years our relationship is not so good. We have so many problems right now. And in fact, once Dr. Manmohan Singh, when he was the Prime Minister, he said, both India and he was talking about the possibility of expansion and growth of India and China. He said both India and China can grow, I am not talking about the physical growth, can grow in the what you call in the rest of the spheres, and there is enough space for both of us. There is enough space for both of us, and we need not be competitors always. We need not be competitors always. There is enough space for both of us. We need not be competitors always. But unfortunately, somehow the problem is we are always in each and every issue we are seeing as competitors, and that is why the problems are there. And despite we are neighbors, another very the funny point about India and China is, despite we are neighbors, we are not able to have a very good bilateral relationship, or rather our people to people contact. Our people to people contact. We are neighbors, but our people to people contact, our cultural contact is minimal. Okay. Our people to people contact, our cultural contact, it is minimal. We do not have any proper contact between India and in China. In fact, we very little understanding of each other's culture. See, we at the best we may be knowing, if I ask you which is the last Chinese movie you have watched, if it is a neighboring culture, not lot of times we tend to, or do you know even a couple of Chinese words, it is very difficult for us. Okay, you might have heard about chow mein or something, but otherwise whatever, even the Chinese food what we eat here, it is not Chinese. It is a Indian version of the Chinese products. If you go to China, you may not even be able to adjust even the smell or the food which they make. If you walk in the Chinese street in China, and if you enter into a hotel or in a restaurant, they may even say that please do not come, because it is not, the food is not for you, because we cannot adjust to their food habits and things like that. Very, very difficult. And we do not have any cultural exchange, hardly any cultural exchange in the last 70 years you can see. Hardly any movie or any exchange, because even if you might have seen some Jackie Chan movies, but Jackie Chan movies are not Chinese movies. Okay, no cultural contact, no, even Chinese studies in Indian universities, very less, very few universities in India has Chinese studies, or Indian study in Chinese university, very, very rare, very little, 1 or 2 universities here and there, like JNU has Chinese studies, but not many universities in India has Chinese studies. But we are neighbors, civilizations, and thousands of years of contact, and the two largest countries in the world, but our actual contact between us is very minimum. In fact, that is why how many even the persons of Indian origin in China, how many Indians may be there in China? Very rare. Or similarly, how many Chinese origin people are there in India from China who are migrated, like Indian origin people in US, we are talking about 2 million people, 2 million. But how many Indian origin people in China and vice versa, maybe a few Chinese origin people in India, in the Chinatown, in Calcutta, very few, very, very few. Similarly, some Indians in China, it could be there, I am not denying it, very, very few. Say maybe through Hong Kong and all, some of them may be there, but otherwise the number of the PIOs in China or Chinese in India, very rare. In a normal class I used to ask, tell me one Chinese word which you know other than chow mein and all, you will not be able to tell also, because we have very little contact with them. So this so the lack of cultural contact, the lack of that people to people contact is a big issue, lack of people to people contact is a big issue. And also we do not have a good feeling for the Chinese. Similarly, Chinese have no good feeling for Indians. When we talk about US and all, suppose that is what, if I give an option of traveling abroad, if you are, if I am giving you the chance of traveling to US and to the Beijing, definitely you will say I want to go to US first, not to the Beijing. So there is a lack of people to people contact, lack of similarity or lack of understanding of each other's culture, lack of that feel good factor. The way we do not feel good about Chinese, the Chinese do not feel good about Indians. That is same feeling, absolutely the same feeling. So there are issues, and even as I told you, even in universities we have limited studies for each other. The Chinese chair in India or Indian chair in China in the universities is very, very less. So we are not in a good frame of mind because of all these things. And at the time of independence, India got independence in 1947, China got the Chinese Revolution in 1949. Both the countries were almost on the same level, or China was even slightly at a lower development level than India's. But today, China is far ahead of India. That is the reality. The Chinese economy, even Chinese productivity, agricultural productivity, Chinese industrial production, everything, if you look, they have marched ahead. They are able to move forward much faster and better. Maybe in a democracy like India, we have limitations in our the way we can grow, but they are able to move forward and faster, and we are left behind, unfortunately. Anyway, so there are many irritants between India and China. Many irritants between India and China. Irritation, and first and foremost is definitely for India the unresolved border dispute. Okay. I will be talking about that and unresolved border dispute. Then another major issue of concern for India is the China-Pakistan nexus. China-Pakistan nexus and border dispute. I will be talking about the border between India and China, we call LAC, line of actual control. Then the Chinese activities in POK, like the CPEC and the Chinese activities in POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which we are not able to adjust, and we feel that they are working, and we have it is a disputed territory. POK is a disputed territory and China is investing there without India's consent. So, we have serious issues, the China Pakistan economic corridor, we have talked about that earlier also. And another dispute or another irritant between India and China is even the Chinese presence in Myanmar, especially when I was talking about Myanmar, I said after 1962, India cut diplomatic relations, or India maintained only very limited bilateral relations with with Myanmar, and during that space, Myanmar's the closest ally and friend was China. So, naturally the Chinese presence, see even in the Cocos Islands, okay, I talked about this the Cocos Islands earlier also. I mean, I would like to show you once again the Cocos Island, that is just north of the Andaman Nicobar Island. I mean, we have seen it, I mean in another discussion, in the Myanmar discussion I have talked about this, but still I would like to show you that. See in India, and you can see the India physical, north of the Andaman Nicobar Islands, the Coco Island and the Coco Channel, you can see the Coco Channel, that is the northern island, and then further north of it is the Coco Islands with Myanmar, and also the Preparis Island, both are the Myanmari islands. And in these islands, the presence of Chinese in these islands, okay, what is the dispute or what is the problem? The problem is the presence of China, okay, the Coco Island, the Chinese presence on the military facility or even some communication facility in the Coco Island, communication facilities for China in the Coco Island, that is a matter of dispute for us. And also we are also concerned about the modernization of the Chinese army, and their expansion, the PLA, PLA Navy, People's Liberation Army Navy, PLA Navy, that is the Chinese Navy, it is known as PLA Navy, their submarines and their presence in Indian Ocean, okay, modernization of Chinese army, then the Navy's presence in Indian Ocean, in the occasional the presence even in Colombo port, it is a matter of concern for us. And also the hard power, another big issue for India is the hard power politics of China, hard power politics of China. See, hard power politics and soft power politics, please remember, hard power means you are using your muscle power, you are using your money power, whereas soft power is you are trying to co-opt, you are trying to win over because of your good good character, good image and good qualities, okay. So, that is what India always tries to win over the other countries through soft power politics, okay. Soft power is your attractiveness, okay. When we say soft power is the attractiveness of a country, whereas hard power means your military power, your money power. Hard power is more of your military power or your money power, that is the hard power, okay. The soft power and the hard power. So, hard power politics of China, see the China using their military might in South China Sea, we were seeing that earlier, or China using their money power in winning over the smaller countries around us, whether it is Pakistan, whether it is Bangladesh, whether it is Sri Lanka, whether it is Myanmar, everywhere Chinese investment. So, this money power politics, so which is not to the liking of India, because India is not able to match that kind of Chinese investment in our surrounding. Definitely we are not able to match that. Okay. And also the Chinese policy of contain India in South Asia, because this is what we are always accusing, contain India in South Asia policy, meaning India should not be allowed to come out of the South Asia. We should always be entangled with the problems in South Asia, whether it is India Nepal problem, whether it is India Bangladesh problem, whether it is India Sri Lanka problem or India Myanmar problem, like that, India getting stuck in South Asia. So, that is the kind of, and this China encouraging these smaller countries, okay. Contain India in South Asia policy means China encouraging the smaller neighbors to stand up against India, So, that is the meaning of this this contain India in South Asia policy. India strongly believes that China has such a policy. It is a major irritant for India, because whenever the China tries to invest, say $24 billion in Bangladesh or a couple of $billion in Nepal, and trying to instigate them to fight for their rights, we are talking about this contain India in South Asia policy. Also, we are upset about the string of pearls policy of China. Okay. The string of pearls policy is a policy of China whereby they are developing port facility, infrastructure facility surrounding India, developing, I will be talking about that, ports, infrastructure surrounding India. Developing ports or infrastructure surrounding India. That is the string of pearls policy by China, which is not to the liking of India. Naturally, India is upset about that, and India is also upset about the Chinese developing river valley projects in Brahmaputra. Another upset without informing India, the Chinese hydroelectric power and river valley projects in Sangpo, or Sangpo is the name of the river Brahmaputra before it enters India. In Sangpo or Brahmaputra, the hydroelectric power projects or river valley projects which are not disclosed. The problem is they are not consulting India or they are not informing India, not disclosed, or we are going to clandestine, that is the word uses, secret river valley. Even today we are not very clear, what China is doing there, what exactly they are planning. We are even hearing that China wants to divert this water into the Yunnan province. This is once again you can see this map and you will understand that. So, this is the Sangpo river, it is starting very close to Mansarovar, this is the lake, this blue line, and it is taking a U-turn and entering as Brahmaputra. Otherwise, in China, in Tibet it is known as Sangpo, and this river water from here, it seems China has a plan to divert this water and take it to the eastern province here, which are the eastern province, especially the Yunnan province is slightly drought prone. Okay. So, let me just show you that in say in Asia, political. You can see the river is here and taking a U-turn, and from here there is a this region is called the Yunnan, the Kunming. You can see Kunming as a capital here. This region is the Yunnan province, and there is, it seems there is a Chinese plan to divert water into this. We do not know, it may be speculation, it may not be that easy, but they have many secret clandestine river valley projects which are not to the liking of India. And also another discomfort for India, irritant for India, is the cheap Chinese goods. Being dumped in India, the dumping of cheap Chinese goods, and we are finding it extremely difficult to compete with the Chinese goods. Goods dumped in India, cheap Chinese goods dumped in India. Okay. So, these are we are not comfortable because there is a huge trade deficit. Because of that, the trade deficit is almost $60 billion now. The trade deficit has reached almost $60 billion. So, we are upset about all these aspects. Okay. These are all irritants for India. So, the trade deficit of almost $60 billion, trade deficit of almost $60 billion, the cheap Chinese goods being dumped in India means they are and Indian goods are not getting enough market in China. When we try to export something, we are not able to do that also. So, these are some of the irritants for India. Now, coming to the Chinese irritant, what are China's problem? The Chinese irritants, what are the issues where which are the issues where China is getting irritated about India? The number one issue for China is the presence of Dalai Lama. In India. For them, Dalai Lama is not a religious leader or anything, he is a political leader, and we have given asylum to Dalai Lama in 1959. 1959 we gave asylum. He, along with the supporters of Dalai Lama, entered India, and we have given him support, and he is staying in Dharamshala in Himachal Pradesh, and his government in exile is working from India. The government in exile is working from India. So, they have serious objection to the presence of Dalai Lama, and for them Dalai Lama is a political opponent. They do not even want to talk to Dalai Lama and his team, and for them it is a closed chapter. So, the presence of Dalai Lama in India is a major irritant for China. Number two, another big issue for China is the Indo-US nuclear deal. The Indo-US nuclear deal and India's growing closeness to US. India growing closer to USA, and slowly and steadily India is becoming a very close ally of US, and for China, please remember, US is the number one, Japan may be the number one enemy, and it may be slightly difficult for them to decide who is the number one enemy, but both are equal enemies, whether it is US, whether it is Japan, for them it is almost equal. So, for China, their bitter enemy, they cannot be, for China, USA is never a strategic partner, he can only be a strategic competitor. Okay. For China, USA is a strategic competitor. They are never a partner, and India is growing closer to them. So, naturally, this is the way China's nexus with Pakistan is an irritation for India. For China, India's growing partnership with US is an irritation. They cannot tolerate this. Then they always feel that using India, US wants to encircle China, because many of the surrounding countries are not friendly to China. So, they feel that US is trying to encircle China. And another big problem for China is India's Look East policy, as well as the what you call the Act East policy right now. And in the process, we have seen in the Look East policy, we repeatedly said that our aim is to counterbalance China in Southeast Asia, counterbalance China in Southeast Asia. So, China knows that our intention is to counter China. So, naturally they do not like it. So, that is an irritation. The India's growing footprints in Southeast Asia, which we started after the our relationship with ASEAN, maybe in after 1990s, after the Look East policy which was started by P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1990s. So, for China it is an irritation, the Look East policy and Act East policy, they know that we are trying to counterbalance China in Southeast Asia. And also China is upset about our growing closeness or closer relations with Vietnam and Japan. Both for China, both Vietnam and Japan are not having good relations with China. With Japan, I have already said they have a historic fight because of the the colonization of China for many years by Japan. Even with Vietnam, their relationship is not so smooth. So, with both the countries, India has excellent strategic partnership, and our growing closeness with Japan as well as Vietnam, again it is a matter of concern for China. And also we have military cooperation, strategic partnership with both of them. We have strategic partnership with both, and China is not very happy with that. And our position, another point of discord between India and China is India's position on South China Sea. India's position on South China Sea. So, India says all the sides should support, there should be a peaceful solution to the problem, and we are insisting that all the sides should implement the UNCLOS. India's position is China should respect the UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on Law of Seas. But China says South China is their territory because of historic reasons and the issues we have seen. So, India's position South China Sea is an irritant for China. And also another point which I forgot to mention earlier also, when India tried to enter into NSG, a nuclear supplier group, it is again a club like MTCR, Wassenaar arrangement, or Australia group. This nuclear supplier group is a club, it is a voluntary organization. It is a voluntary organization. I think 47 members are there. India wanted to be a member of this because in the Indo-US nuclear deal, the nuclear supplier group has given exception to India. They can deal with India, but India also wanted to be a member of NSG, but China objected. China objected India's entry for the last many years. Their main concern is, there should be a principle on which we can admit more people, because China says if India can be admitted, why not Pakistan be admitted in NSG. So, what is the principle, what is the policy? China is questioning the policy and the principles in which we are accommodating more new countries, the new members. So, in a nuclear supplier group issue where China has opposed India's entry, again it is a matter of dispute or rather it is a matter of concern. So, even China is also upset about our Quad, the quadrilateral arrangement between India, USA, Japan and Australia. We are trying to have recently there was a this Quad meeting of the foreign ministers meeting. Physically, we have travelled and met even during the pandemic time, the corona pandemic time. We have met in Japan. All the 4 foreign ministers have met, and in this it is very clear that we are very, even especially the American delegation, the American Secretary of State, he was very clear. The Mike Pompeo was very categorically questioning the Chinese intentions, and China sees Quad is a creation, is a ganging up against China. For them, it is ganging up all these 4 countries are coming together against China. That is what the Chinese feeling is. So, this is yet another irritation. So, these are some of the irritants for China. So, we have many irritants, and then China has many irritants. So, we do not have many common things to talk about. We do not have any, not many good feeling, not many good feelings, and more irritants. Yeah, as part of this Quad, even we have a Malabar exercise, that is a joint exercise. This year we have even added Australia also into this. Initially started as India and the USA, then Japan was added, I think, in 2015. Now we are adding even Australia also in this year. So, and this is according to China, or for them, it is a ganging up against China by 4 countries, and both are, all the 4 are substantially influential countries in the world, and if we gang up all 4 of us, so naturally China will have its own problems. Okay, that is how these are some of the irritants between India. So, 10 irritants I talked about, India feeling irritated about China and China feeling irritated about India. So, that is how these irritants are there. Let me just pick up a couple of questions. I know you have put so many questions. So, Shivam is asking, winter is on. सर आप मस्त ठीक है, उतना तो ज़्यादा भी मत बोलो, कंफ्यूज हो जाऊंगा मैं, ठीक है. सो देन Mojida is asking, sir, there was one Chinese girl in my 8th class. Oh, great, yeah. Very rare, because I have not seen. Okay. So, Chinese interest, but even we had Chandni Chowk to what is that, China, there is a movie, right. So, there are many, but Xi Jinping, yes, but that is the name, Xi Jinping. Suraj is saying that is a, you do not know a word, I mean it is a name. Okay. ऐसे तो कुछ भी नाम आप बोल सकते हैं. Amir Khan's movie, yeah, was famous in China, ठीक है, I fully agree, but we have limited contact, that is the point I am saying. Do the poor internet connection, we could not get the best of our live sessions. So, we request you institute to kindly upload the video the very next day, and we lose the flow of the class. I fully agree, Joy Prakash, but the problem is, after the live class it takes some time, because it has to, editing has to be done, and the process of uploading takes 7-8 hours. So, it is not that easy. So, that is